Talking about education now, okay, you'd agree with me that most elites that you have today don't actually study in Nigeria. Everyone wants their kids out of Nigeria. What's your take on this?
Well, so I would say it this way. Most elites that we have in Nigeria today were trained in Nigerian public schools.
Right.
But for, again, the reason of corruption, we've lost education in our schools, and now those elites want the best for their children, and they're then trying and sending their children out of the country and paying exorbitant amounts, especially when you convert naira to whatever the currency is. And so we've, in a way, the elites have lost faith in the education system, and sometimes almost rightfully so. What I say is this, that Nigeria deserves your best if Nigeria was able to give you the best opportunities that have made you who you are today. So I'm saying we need to fix education, right? No doubt about it. And we need to focus on 3 key areas in fixing education. We need to focus on teachers, because if you fix the teacher, you fix a generation of students. Number 2, we need to focus on investing back in our infrastructure. And we need something in the region of about 10,400 schools to be built to be able to accommodate the 13.2 million children out of school today.
Are those schools, have they got the teachers though? Okay,
so this is what we're saying. That's all the investment that has to be made. And then the most important one is also then even just making the curriculum work, because today curriculums in Nigeria are only preparing you for certification. They just give you a certificate. They don't really prepare you for leadership and success in your chosen occupation. They don't guide you in the pathway of that. So we want to focus on teachers, on infrastructure, and on the curriculum. And to do this, we can't do it alone. It's got to be public-private partnership, right? We've got to have Nigerian companies that would adopt schools. We've got to find ways where those who have become successful, whether they live in Nigeria or they live abroad, are able to find ways to give back to the schools and become part of school management boards that we would have to create. Almost every school in Nigeria, every public school in Nigeria has successful alumni, but those alumni are not involved in giving back to their schools. And yet, if you look at most of the Ivy League schools in the United States, 68% of their assets are bought by their alumni, whether it's Harvard or any of the top 10 institutions. So there's a link between the alumni who have passed through schools and the reinvestment back into those schools. And we keep telling the alumni that the glory of your certificate, no matter how long ago you got it, is in the quality of the education that is gotten from the same institution. So if I went through a school and that school was good when I went through it, but today is bad, then the name of my school is still bad because it doesn't. So we've got to find a way to get our alumni and those who have passed through our public schools to reconnect back and give back. And in doing that partnership, we will be able to build our school system back into somewhere where we actually export education and not export teachers. Our best teachers today are living in hordes. Our best lecturers are living in hordes. One of the very most important things that we also need to do, just like with healthcare, is to drive down the cost of accessing education. I believe that a blessed country like Nigeria should have free education all the way to at least secondary. I would desire, if we were able to manage, and we should be able to manage our economy well enough, I would really want to see even as high as tertiary institutions, right? But the most important thing is, it's not about just getting children into school. What is the quality of education you get from there? What is the learning experience that you get? One of the reasons why a lot of people don't want to have anything to do with the schools that they graduated from was that there was too much turmoil in just getting the education, in passing through school. You don't have accommodation. Sometimes we're seeing 16 students live in a bedroom that was designed for 3 students. Today, we're seeing students who are going through school and the lecturers are making it so difficult. There are more students than the lecture theaters can accommodate. And then the lecturers just make it so horrendous, threaten the students, as demand sex for marks. All of those kind of things are things that are just unacceptable. And if you need, what you need is a president who values education, who would invest in his own education, we shouldn't be having a conversation around the WAEC results of a president. We should be talking about the second and third degrees. I mean, not in 21st century, we've got people like Professor Mogalu who's running. We've got Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. We've got Omoyele Sowore, who is also, who's got his master's degrees, also, a lecturer. You've got Fela Durotoye, who also, his master's degrees, training, and, how should we be talking about WAEC? It doesn't make sense. So bottom line is, I think that we need to have investment in education. Today, the current, the budget that is allotted to education is only 7.06% of our education, of our total budget. That is unacceptable. The world says we need 15% minimum, maybe even 20%. I want to see that grow. So between healthcare and education, I would like to see 25% of our budget in making people intelligent and strong, skilled, and ready to be able to deliver, so that Nigeria can be open for business.
All right, brilliant. Okay, just coming to the end of the program now. In the time of Jonathan's administration, it's been made understood, or it's been seen as you leading the fuel subsidy protests. Is that true, and why is that?
I think that is definitely overrating my involvement. Was I involved in that protest? Absolutely, and I was very clear as to what my beef, my problem was, is that technically, every time we see, the removal of subsidy, we obviously see an increase in the costs, just living wage, and the cost of living goes up, transportation goes up, everything, because we're very much dependent on petroleum and the cost of petroleum. But we do not see things get better. We don't see investments in infrastructure, in any of the things that help us. Why? Because to a large extent, we have wasteful governments who refuse to cut down their waste and corruption, and rather want to continue to remove subsidy from which actually improves, at least helps to buffer the effects of their corruption and the wastefulness in government. And what I was saying was this: cut down the waste first, cut down the corruption first, and we understand that around subsidy, there's a lot of scam. It's a big scam that is going on there. But if we can at least cut down the cost of running governance and cut down the wastage, why would you have a 30-car convoy escorting a president to the airport? It doesn't make sense. Why would a minister in Nigeria have 2 brand new cars on a convoy, one following the other, as a backup car? What does that mean? Even Theresa May has a three-car convoy. I mean, what are we talking about here? Look at the amount of money we are paying to our senators. Our senators are the highest paid in the world. Most of Nigeria's senators earn more than the presidents of the United States or any of the top countries. And yet the question, so the cost of running governance is too high, and that was my major protest. And if you go and look at everything that I wrote about it, it was about saying, let's get government to first of all become more prudent, and then we can have conversations around oil and fuel subsidy. And I believe that the work that I did, and bringing that attention to how it is that government and what they would do with the proceeds of the removal of subsidy, led to the SureP, which is a subsidy removal reinvestment institution that was created, and obviously got somebody as credible as Dr. Christopher Kolade, who was a very astute leader and respected leader to lead that. But in the end, look at what happened. Politics once again tried to get into SureP, and Dr. Kolade resigned because of, again, a lot of the pressure that was being put on him. So that tells us again and again, the real problems of Nigeria they're not problems that are embedded in our structure. It's our people. It's the people that get involved in government. And so when the right people get involved in government, people who have a track record of doing things, not just people who come and make promises of what they will do, that's the kind of people we're looking for. I've had a track record of helping businesses start and grow. I've had a track record of raising people to become great leaders in their own careers and their chosen professions. I've had a track record of investments in in education, in infrastructure, and in values for Nigeria. Some of the projects that we've done in education, include getting volunteer teachers to train students. In 2008, I wasn't looking for any political office when we were doing that. We bought 4,122 math sets for children that didn't have them, that we were training, who would have lost 12 marks in construction and 12 marks in trigonometry, right? And lost 24 marks out of 60 marks in maths, just for 430 naira investment. I raised that investment. It wasn't government that did that, and we gave to those children. That was in 2008. I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't trying to be governor. I wasn't trying to be president. And so we've created a value system, a creed that has 10 values in it, and we've driven those values into over 300 schools. It's now been adopted by Association of Private Educators of Nigeria. It's been adopted by the Anambra State government. Lagos State government even got the top 500 civil servants to adopt those values. Why? Because they're very practical. And when we get when I become president, we're going to drive those 10 values into the psyche of Nigeria. And they're very simple. Number one, make a positive impact on everyone you meet and everywhere you go. Number two, be a solution provider and not a part of the problem to be solved. Number three, be a role model worthy of emulation. Number four, be your best in all you do, particularly what you're naturally good at. Number five, do the right thing at all times, regardless of who is doing the wrong thing. Number six, value time and make the best use of it. Number seven, care and show respect through your words and your actions. Number eight, consciously build a great legacy starting now, today, and every day. Number nine, live a life of integrity and honor. And number 10, make your family, your nation, and your God proud. And you know what we're going to do is that every week, Nigeria will focus on one of those values. And we'll go using media, entertainment, using everything. We'll get families to talk about those values in the morning. When your children get to school, the schools will talk about those values. When you get to work, your office, they will have staff meetings about those values. And that will go into the civil service and the private sector. And even the religious institutions will be encouraged to also have conversations and let the imams and the pastors and whoever it is, let them also be able to drive those values into their subject for their sermons. What I'm saying is that every week, Nigeria will have a target of what kind of behavior we want to have. And you will see, when we drive these things in, Nigerians will become the most desirable people to live with, and will become the most desirable people to do business with and to work with. Nigeria will be open for business. The world will come to Nigeria, and it's not going to be long from now.
Brilliant. Okay, so finally, 2019, do you see yourself winning that election? They're really big guns in the field. You're a big gun. I'm not saying you're not, but it can be very dirty. Are you ready for it?
I think the people of Nigeria are ready for the elections, and I think that we will win the elections. I would represent their interest, and these are the people who are tired of Nigeria the way it is today, and people who find it unacceptable for us to go back to the old Nigeria and the old establishment that brought us the Nigeria that we have today. Let's be clear, those who brought us this far can't take us further. Those guys don't have any vision. We're not hearing any vision, not from any of the political parties. We're not hearing any vision statement, nothing visionary, nothing new. It's the same old, same old. They're using money, and they're relying on money and their structure to be able to get voters to vote for them. That's not the Nigeria we want. We want a new Nigeria where there will be jobs and opportunities for all to pursue their happiness, to do great things, to prosper and enjoy good success. Nigerians need a break, and this 2019 is where they're going to get their break. It's going to be the choice between the old politicians and the new nation builders, and they're going to choose nation builders. Why? Because they have rejected the old politicians before, but they didn't have anyone to choose. The numbers, like I shared with you, are there. The larger proportion of the electorate never vote because they don't like what it is that is on ground. Now they have an option, and I believe that the people of Nigeria who want a new Nigeria, they will win, and I will represent them. And come May 29, 2019, I would invite you, and we would have this kind of thing in Asoraka, right?
So, a congratulation meeting then.
Yes, so we can do congratulations in advance. Thank you.
Right, okay, and that would be a wrap on today's episode on Update with Ricky. I have been talking to the presidential candidate of the Alliance for New Nigeria. That's the one. Alliance for New Nigeria. I'll see you sometime again next week. Follow us as we bring you another episode.